Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week. From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Carolina Week. I'm Bethany Tuggle.
And I'm Chris Neal. Thanks for joining us. During the next half hour, we'll take a look back at some of the most memorable moments from this semester here at Carolina. Chapel Hill Mayor Mark Kleinschmidt is promising to bridge a divide in Chapel Hill politics after one of the most contested elections in the town's history. Our Jaime Zaya spoke to him on election night and has that story.
Several months of campaigning came to an end Tuesday with Mark Kleinschmidt's close victory against Matt Chakowski. While other races in the state were determined early, the mayor's seat in Chapel Hill was a close call until the very end. Although early numbers favored Kleinschmidt, he refused to call it a victory.
I refused to declare victory to the Durham Herald.
With the numbers favoring his candidate, however, Chapel Hill resident Jeff Daner had great expectations for the new mayor-elect.
I think he'll just continue to work with the community and understand the issues and meet all the constituents and come up with solutions that work for the town. With
a lead of less than 100 votes, Kleinschmidt got reassurance from the person who knows him best, his mother.
You're a winner in my book, honey.
Results finally came in, and it was a win for Kleinschmidt.
We did. We won it.
In his acceptance speech, Kleinschmidt acknowledged he has to work to bridge the divide in Chapel Hill politics.
We have a formidable job ahead of us, and that is overcoming the division that this race has created in our community.
Regarding his plans for dealing with the university, development is at the top of his list.
We look to manage the growth and build out of Carolina North, and really in an exciting way, look at how the University Square property is going to be redeveloped.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Jaime Zaya, Carolina Week.
Kleinschmidt will serve a 4-year term in which he hopes to work with the university in the development of Carolina North. Stay tuned next semester for our complete coverage of town politics and the 2010 midterm elections.
Tuition talks for the 2010-2011 school year had some students crying foul. Andrea Blanford was there as UNC out-of-state students protested the proposed $1,400 increase.
Once committee members settled in, Interim Provost Bruce Carney almost immediately opened the floor to the students in the room. President of the Out-of-State Student Association, Ryan Morgan, was the first to speak up. He asked the committee for fairness and openness. He wanted to make it clear that out-of-state students wouldn't be the university's cash cow. Sophomore Laurel Ashton was an outspoken in-state student at the meeting. She says she stands in solidarity with the out-of-state students.
The reason that I do feel so passionate about it is I think that it's just a step in the direction that the university is going to take budget increases or budget cuts.
But Carney says no one has ever decided not to come to Carolina because of not being able to afford it. The committee then voted on which option to set before the chancellor. Everyone agreed tuition rate increases should be equal for residents and non-residents. But when it came to whether it should be a 6.5% or 5.2% increase, the student leaders were largely outnumbered. Student body president Jasmin Jones says although administrators can't stop tuition from going up, allowing the maximum increase will surely send the wrong message.
It does matter to us. Just like we've argued over a lot of things that in theory sound great, but the way it makes us feel and the way it seems to us is not right.
Although Morgan appreciates the support, he still doesn't feel the process is fully representative.
The student representatives have their own sort of interests. They're not really representative of out-of-state students. So it's a tough situation. I'm really frustrated.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Andrea Blanford, Carolina Week.
Chancellor Thorpe ended up siding with the students. He's chosen the 5.2% increase for both in-state and out-of-state students. The Board of Governors will now meet in January to decide which option they'll put in front of the General Assembly.
Elizabeth Edwards is staying active. She recently received a plaque for her passion and work on healthcare reform. Back in Chapel Hill, her passion is Red Window, a furniture store she opened last summer. Adam Yosman spoke with Miss Edwards earlier this year to see how the business is going.
It is pretty. I'm sorry, it's not very pretty.
It's a rainy day in Chapel Hill, but that's not slowing Elizabeth Edwards down. She's heading off to High Point to buy more items for her furniture store, Red Window. Tuesday marked 1 month of business for Edwards, a month of great success at offering eclectic items at wholesale prices.
Business is going great, honestly. I can't think of anything in the store in which no one has expressed an interest.
Edwards has found that the economy has hurt bedroom and dining room purchases, but not living room items. She says people who can't sell their homes are sprucing them up by updating their living room furniture that Red Window specializes in. Edwards suggests buying only one piece of furniture a year.
To expect people to do it all in one fell swoop, I think is, certainly in this economy, not a reasonable expectation.
Edwards calls the store a family endeavor. Her husband John and the children often travel with her to High Point and help run Red Window from time to time.
The store is a really good example of just finding something positive to put your energy into.
Especially at a time when her husband is dealing with negative energy concerning a federal investigation and tabloid stories about his former mistress, Rielle Hunter.
Sometimes you just need to deal with the bad, and sometimes what you need to do is find something good to look at instead. And this place makes me smile.
The smile comes from the place and the support she receives from the Chapel Hill community. In Chapel Hill, I'm Adam Yosem, Carolina Week.
If you want to stop by Red Window, the store is open weekdays from 10 to 2.
Coming up, more about the top stories of this semester
when this special edition of Carolina Week returns. Stay with us.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool. Really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
Every year, mothers lose their babies to gun crimes. You'll always be your mother's baby. So before you commit a gun crime, think about who you'll leave behind. Gun crimes hit home.
A bright future starts with a healthy lifestyle. Good nutrition and physical activity are fuel for your child's mind and body.
Attaboy, Pinot.
And the food pyramid will help you find the right balance. Just remember, every color, every day.
Nothing can stop me now.
Eat right.
Here's an effort.
Be active.
Come on, I'll race you home.
Make it balanced.
This calls for a celebration.
A healthy lifestyle can lead to great things for your child. Visit mypyramid.gov to learn more.
The newly built North Carolina Cancer Hospital is a state-of-the-art facility dedicated to bettering the lives of the people in North Carolina. I attended an open house celebration where the finished product was on display. The newly built North Carolina Cancer Center was on display for public viewing this weekend. Patients, staff members, physicians, and residents were all on hand to view the 315,000 square foot facility at Saturday's open house. Everyone in attendance was excited to see the finished product.
It's just so exciting to see all the space, the open windows, how they can be able to handle more people now, when before they were so crowded over in the other space.
The $207 million complex will house the UNC Lineberger Comprehensive Cancer Center. The state provided $180 million of that cost. Hospital administrators say the facility will enhance research and treatment.
The Cancer Center here, the North Carolina Cancer Hospital, is both a gift and a responsibility that we've now been given by the state legislature to provide the best care we can for the patients from across the state.
The new cancer hospital has over 100 examination rooms, 50 inpatient beds, and 21 emergency treatment spaces. It also has a space for a new comprehensive cancer support program for patients and families dealing with cancer.
That is one of the things that we have been very fortunate, because now that we have more space to offer programs and services to patients.
And the new facility is much more than chrome and glass. It represents the expanded potential of providing patients, such as Mary Sigmund, with better care.
I'm excited that they're coming out with new medicines for my cancer. One of the large cancer centers of the country is right here. And I think a lot of the research that's going to be filtering in here is just going to be incredible.
Advocates believe the hospital will serve patients in our state for years to come. The new cancer hospital is equipped to treat 3 times as many patients as the previous facility.
Controversy surrounding the Greek community's connection to cocaine busts earlier this semester had both campus and community wondering if UNC had a substance abuse problem. Andrea Blanford searched further to find that in spite of several substance abuse cases, the Tar Heel tradition is far from marred.
Assistant Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Winston Crisp, says recent controversy surrounding the Greek system shouldn't make anyone think there's a new version of the Carolina way.
I don't think there's a campus in the United States that probably doesn't have some level of drug and alcohol abuse issues on it, and I certainly don't think we're any different from anybody else.
That, too, seems to be the consensus among UNC students.
I don't think we have a reputation as a party school.
It's a problem everywhere with people our age at college.
I haven't seen many drugs in my time here. Maybe a little bit on the alcohol, but I think that's at every college.
Health educator Eric Smith says if UNC has a problem at all, it's more likely to be with alcohol than any other drug or narcotic.
It's that smaller group of students who are drinking to excess and causing a lot of the problems.
Smith says UNC students usually have clubs and academics keeping them busy on campus. But off campus, Chapel Hill police have seen an increase in underage drinking. Lieutenant Kevin Gunter says the fall semester is typically the time of year when substance abuse is most prevalent. Gunter says so far this semester, Chapel Hill police have issued 61 drinking tickets, a spike compared to this time last year when police issued only 26 to underage drinkers. Smith says in spite of the increased numbers, there's no irregularity to speak of, and the recent cases of substance abuse can't overshadow the hallmarks of what UNC stands for and what it has to offer. In Chapel Hill, I'm Andrea Blanford, Carolina Week.
Winston Crisp told Carolina Week today that Greek life is improving its image. Councils and chapters are currently working together to create alcohol and substance abuse education programs.
Currently, only 2% of UNC graduates are older than the age of 30. For one of those students, graduating with a UNC degree means everything, even if she's had to wait nearly 3 decades to complete her classes. Jordan Harris brings us that story.
30 years later, Carolina student Kim Hill finds herself back on campus to finally finish what she came here to do in 1978, graduate.
I joked the first day of class, and I told them that I knew a lot of kids took the 5-year plan, and I was taking the 30-year plan.
Hill lives in Kinston, North Carolina, but that doesn't stop her from driving 4 hours on Wednesdays to attend a 3-hour history class. Was it a hard decision to decide to leave Carolina?
I just didn't know what I was doing, and I just needed a break, so I quit. I didn't come back my senior year.
In 1982, Hill got married, and then she had 2 sons. But living in Kinston put her dream to one day graduate from Carolina on hold again.
It was just too far away. It's 2-hour drive, and I didn't want to graduate from another college. I wanted to graduate from Carolina.
Hill's oldest son, Justin, graduated from UNC in 2008. Now he's teaching English in South Korea. But when we talked on Skype, he said he told his mom she could take the 8 classes she needed for graduation, mostly online. Hill started taking online classes in January 2008. Now she's taking the only class she needs on campus, and walking into class that first day wasn't easy.
I knew it was going to be a small classroom, and people were going to wonder what I was doing here.
Hill is one of about 400 undergraduates older than 30. Hill will graduate in May, the same time her youngest son Trevor graduates from NC State.
I guess we'll be doing it together, about a week apart.
The main thing you want to gain from finishing your degree?
Not to be a quitter, just to know that you finished what you started.
Once May rolls around, Kim Hill will finally be able to say, I graduated from Carolina. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jordan Harris, Carolina Week.
Well, as we say here in Chapel Hill, if you can't go to college, go to state. Just kidding. Congratulations to both mother and son. Bethany, there was definitely an international flair to Carolina Week this semester.
There sure was, Chris. Coming up after the break, we'll show you some of those stories.
Honey, the credit fairy doesn't exist.
What?
It's make-believe. Nobody left anything under your pillow.
If there's no credit fairy, then we'll make our credit score go up.
We will. By doing things like paying our bills on time.
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
What?
Takeout meals for just $12.99. Call them.
Sherry Pearson. You are the sole surviving heir of the King of Montanopolis, and you are now worth $45 million.
I'm rich! This can't be real.
Of course it's not real. Come on. Having money isn't about luck. Like that takeout meal. Cook at home instead, you can save thousands a year. Feed me. Feed the pig.
On a recent trip to Argentina, I learned about a group called Las Abuelas, which is dedicated to finding as many as 500 babies stolen during the country's dirty war in the 70s and 80s. Now we meet one of the found grandchildren. Juan Cabandie was born in a prison cell 31 years ago. Juan's parents, Damien and Alicia, were among the 30,000 people seized by the government during Argentina's military dictatorship. The 17-year-old Alicia was pregnant with Juan. 20 days after he was born, soldiers took Juan from his mother, who he would never see again.
There are no traces of my mom, the same as every pregnant woman and most of the people who went through that detention center. She's disappeared, the same as my dad.
Here inside one of the main secret detention centers, which Argentines refer to as ESMA, Juan's mother, along with up to 5,000 others, were detainees during the 7.5 years of the military dictatorship. A police officer and his wife illegally adopted Juan. The people involved in the disappearance and probable death of his biological parents were the ones he'd call mom and dad for the next 26 years.
Y además yo tenía, durante esos años, que fueron 26 años que yo viví con una identidad falsa.
During those 26 years in which I lived with a false identity, I had many uncertainties, emotional instabilities, and at some point I started to try and figure out why I was so anguished, so depressed, so emotionally unstable.
That's when Juan came to Las Abuelas de Plaza de Mayo, a group dedicated to helping Juan and others like him find their true identities. A DNA test would change his life forever. Estela de Carlado is the president of Las Abuelas and says it's not easy to learn the life you've known is a lie.
La respuesta del niño, cuando era pequeño, era de dolor, de shock.
The response of the child when they were young is of pain, shock, when they found out that their mother and father were not their real parents, that they had other parents, that they had another grandmother looking for them.
For Juliana Garcia, the search has been to find her missing sister. Juliana was just 3 when the death squads killed her father and took her pregnant mother. In February, the search was finally over.
Me tocó y la encontré.
I found her. I still can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's wonderful.
Juan can relate to the joy Juliana feels. It's been 5 years since he met his real family for the first time and says there's such relief in having finally found the truth.
Y además de la felicidad por haber encontrado mi verdad.
Ultimately, if I hadn't found it, I would still be in a sea of doubt, of uncertainty. So it was an extra happy moment to know my origins, the triumph of the truth, and to meet my family.
Now a city councilman in Buenos Aires, Juan has created a new life for himself. He no longer associates with what he refers to as his fake parents and refuses to even speak the name they gave him. Juan now plays a big role in educating people about his story and the work of Las Abuelas.
The Galapagos Islands are well known for their unique flora and fauna, but many ignore the problems the local community faces. A group of UNC students set out to document this aspect of the island's life. Facundo de Villar brings us that story.
Galapagos is experiencing a crisis. We are really frustrated. We have no control over anything.
Local fisherman and hunter Tomás Córdoba feels strongly about the effect of men on Ecuador's Galapagos Islands. The island's population experienced a 40-fold increase in the past 50 years, creating new challenges in the attempt to preserve the natural heritage of the place. UNC senior Carly Brandmeier participated in a field trip to the islands.
So many people think that no one even lives in the Galapagos Islands, so that was our mission, to explore and to share with the world what their stories were.
A group of photojournalism students set out to document a different aspect of the island's life.
You know, man is really the most invasive species that has been introduced in the Galapagos Islands.
I fight to earn money, and the fish fights for his life.
UNC's Mike Ulrich spent several days fishing with Jaime Cedeño, one of many fishermen who attempt to preserve their main source of income. There, Ehrlich learned the challenges Cedeño faces.
So we spent 5.5 hours out there, and we didn't catch a single fish. And I got sunburnt, and I got seasick.
But persistence paid off.
The next day I wound up going out again with him, and within the first 15 minutes we caught a fish. I felt like I was coming home that day and, you know, bringing home dinner just like my fisherman was, because I finally got the shots.
Brandmeier learned a lot about herself in the process.
You sometimes have to put yourself into uncomfortable situations and sometimes even dangerous, unfamiliar situations, but at the end of the process, you still have to produce really good results.
And it showed them all a lot about how people in other parts of the world live. In Chapel Hill, I'm Facundo del Villar, Carolina Week.
If you'd like to learn more about the Living Galapagos project or see more footage and pictures, just log on to our website at carolinaweek.org. Coming up, we'll have more highlights from this semester
when Carolina Week returns.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
So, April.
Yeah?
You know your charger's still using energy when it's plugged into the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
We all know that Carolina basketball and Carolina football are popular sports on campus, but what about Carolina billiards? Reporter Emily Hawks takes us to the scene of the cue balls, cue sticks, and a little bit of skill.
Good shot, man. It isn't your run-of-the-mill sport, and it isn't as easy as it looks. But that didn't stop two UNC students from bringing billiards to the Chapel Hill campus.
We wanted to create a club that would give people a chance to congregate and people that shared general interests.
Junior Josh Walker and senior Tyler Bird started the billiards club this semester, and it's already popular with students.
Pool was something that I've done recreationally for a long time, so I figured it'd be a good opportunity to kind of build on some skill and have fun with everybody.
The club meets once a week in the bottom floor of the Student Union. After the university decided to renovate the bowling lanes, university staff members moved pool and ping pong tables in to form a recreation room.
The Billiards Club plans to focus on both 8 and 9-ball pool with standard APA regulations. They hope to eventually expand to play students from other colleges.
Walker and Bird are both experienced in billiards. Each has played for more than 5 years. They're eager to share their love of the game with other UNC students.
Well, it's one of those games that everyone from any kind of personality type they may have, they're probably going to like billiards. So you get to meet and network and meet a lot of whole new people.
The club welcomes players of all skill levels and already has nearly 30 members. Although some players are involved in league play, the club is purely recreational, at least for this semester. In Chapel Hill, I'm Emily Hawks, Carolina Week.
The Billiards Club meets every Wednesday night from 7:30 to 9:30 in the bottom of the Union.
Every club on campus grapples with ways to make the most of the money student government awards. Sports reporter Nick Philippou has the story of one such club.
This is Jared Polifka. He started the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu club here on campus.
We got accepted as a sports club. We got access to this awesome wrestling room, and we started with about 7 guys.
The sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is probably most famous to fans of the UFC. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has become an integral part of mixed martial arts, a sport that's especially popular with college-aged people. So the club that started with only 7 guys soon had 50 members paying dues of $40 a year. Jared wanted to use that money to make the club better.
I wasn't qualified to lead this club and teach on my own, so I had to find outside instruction. I made a lot of calls. I looked I Googled all over the net trying to find a good instructor, and then I met Mozzie.
This is Mozzie Haydari. He's the founder of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Chapel Hill. Haydari agreed to come and teach the class at a reduced rate.
I was surprised when I came here, the number of the people was here. It was amazing.
Some members of the club trained for competition.
We got into jiu-jitsu because we used to roll outside on campus. We'd grapple in the grass and we used to box. And then we just started discovering that we had a love for this sport.
And now what started with just a few has become a love for so many more. From Fetzer Gymnasium, I'm Nick Philippou, Carolina Week.
Looks like a lot of fun, and it provides a good success story for other clubs on campus to follow. She's one of Chapel Hill's most widely known residents.
And her fame continues well beyond the town's borders, but she doesn't mind giving some of her secrets away. That story next.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
The mailbox and the traffic light. Both are ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov and let the journey begin.
It's getting cold outside, Chris.
It sure is, Bethany. Earlier this semester, reporter Lisa Sines told us about one local restaurant owner that keeps her customers warm in more ways than one. Take a look.
Meet Mildred Edna Cotton Council, also known as Mama Dip. She's the owner of Chapel Hill's own slice of Southern comfort, Mama Dip's restaurant. She opened this restaurant back in 1976, and it wasn't easy.
I took $64 and at about 8:30, 9 at night, we had $135. You know, that was a good day.
She no longer struggles to make ends meet, with people packing this room ready to eat some good Southern food. Mama Dip's is even featured in Southern Living's November issue for being one of the South's best diners.
It's just a place that we've always come to for good home cooking.
But Mama Dip doesn't feel like a celebrity.
And I told them I didn't have a yacht. When I get me a yacht, then I could claim that fame.
She might not want to claim it, but fame has come her way because of her culinary style, which she calls dump cooking.
In the country, we didn't have measuring utensils, cups and things. You make a cake, you just use a coffee cup.
I had a lesson in Mama Dip's style of cooking and made my own hush puppies, and they met Mama Dip's approval. But there's more to Mama Dip than her love for food.
She not only makes sure her customers are happy and well fed, but that she also meets the needs of her community as well.
So Mama Dip is taking part in Dine Out, an event on Wednesday. 10% of her proceeds will go to the Interfaith Council for Social Service. With a wall of awards and accomplishments, Mama Dip has no plans to slow down. In Chapel Hill, I'm Lisa Sines, Carolina Week.
Bethany, watching that just makes me hungry. I wish Lisa Sines had brought us back some of those hush puppies she was making in that package.
I know, Chris. I love Mama Dip. She has some good home cooking, that's for sure.
I'm about to head over there right now. I'm starving.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week, looking back at the best of the semester.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a good night.